Welcome back, everybody. In the last episode, we installed the Ubuntu server and brought application one server online. Now, right now, it's a healthy Linux server, but it's not actually doing anything yet. So, in today's episode, we're going to change that and we're going to make the application one server into our first production web server. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, y'all. So, before we start install any software, let's make sure that application one is fully up to date. So keeping servers up to date improves security, stability, and ensures that we're building on the latest available packages. So I already entered in my username and password up top. So the first command we're going to run is sudo and do t update, just like that. And it's going to ask you for your password. So once you do that, it's going to start working. So this command basically updates the package list. So it doesn't really install anything. It simply checks Ubuntu software repositories to see if any newer versions are available. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do sudo upgrade. All right. So now we're installing any available updates. And as a best practice, I always update a server before installing additional software. So it's a simple habit that helps improve security and stability from the start. So we're gonna wait while this finishes. Okay, so now that it's finished, I think it's time that we give application one its first responsibility. So we're going to install Apache, one of the world's most widely used web servers. So once it's installed, we'll be able to host web applications and serve web pages to users across the network. So how we're going to do that, we're going to start off with this command here. Okay, we're going to hit enter. And while that works, the reason we're using Apache for this project, it's a great choice because it's reliable, easy to learn, and it's perfect for building the foundation for our enterprise. So the most important thing isn't the web server itself. It's more important thing is that we're creating our first business service. So it looks like it's almost finished here. Okay, there it goes. Okay, now that Apache's installed, let's go ahead and verify that it's actually running. So one habit I recommend building early is to never assume that a service is installed correctly. So let's just go ahead and verify. So we'll verify by doing okay. So you see there, it says active and running. And it also shows us that it's enabled. So that's exactly what we wanted to see. Okay, everybody. So now it's time to deploy our first application. So Apache is running, but now it's only displaying the default web page. So I'm going to replace that with our own internal portal. So how I'm going to do that, it's just like this. Okay, so the directory is Apache's default web root. So think of it as the folder Apache checks whenever someone visits our website. So any files we place here can be served to users through a web browser. So next, ls. Okay. So right now there's only one file, the default Apache homepage. So we're going to replace it with our own. So we're going to do okay, so we're just removing the default page because we want application one to display our own application instead. So now we're going to do okay. So now we're creating a brand new homepage for our enterprise. So this doesn't have to be anything complicated. The goal is simply to deploy our first web server application and prove the application one is successfully serving content. So I'm gonna go ahead and start typing this. Feel free to skip past this if you want. So take me a second, but I'm just gonna type everything out. Okay, so once we finish editing the file, we'll save it by pressing Control, and then we're gonna press Enter. And then to get out of this, we're gonna put Control X. All right, there we go. And just like that, application one is no longer serving a default web page. So it's now hosting our own internal portal. This may be a simple web page today, but every enterprise starts somewhere. So we'll be adding on to it as time goes on. Okay, guys. So one thing I want to do before ending this episode is I want to validate the web server. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to enter in the curl command, HTTP localhost. And that's exactly what I wanted to see. And so a few episodes ago, we had nothing. Now we have our first production server up and running. So next, we'll be building our workstation one. That's going to be our operations workstation. And we'll start connecting the pieces of our enterprise together. So thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.